back, everybody, to another edition of the daily live stream. This is the Blackfire YouTube channel. Hello, happy Saturday. It is the weekend. I hope you guys are all healthy, happy, and safe. I thought today I'd come on here and do a little bit of a quote-unquote inconsequential stream, do some cryptocurrency analysis today. I know the weekends usually aren't the best, best time for analysis, but, it's Saturday. I'm home alone right now. I'm a little bored. Wanted to come on and, just have a little fun, right? Just have a little fun, do some cryptocurrency analysis. I will be taking any comments that come up in the YouTube stream chat here. If you guys have any requests, anything like that, just throw them in there. I'll do any stock or any cryptocurrency today. Again, it could be a short video, could be a long video. I don't know yet. We're just kind of winging it today. I don't really have a plan, so welcome viewers. Thank you for being here. If you guys do like the content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tick that little bell. All the love that we can get helps the YouTube algorithm, gains a little bit of visibility for the channel, so that we can spread the knowledge and spread the love to everyone around, right? So it's Saturday, it's the weekend. I'm having a drink, and I think we're gonna go ahead and get into it here. We're going to start off with Bitcoin. We're going to cover a couple of the bigger cryptocurrencies today. Again, it could be a short stream or it could turn into a long stream, depending on if I get any kind of requests here today. But just kind of a follow-up from yesterday on Bitcoin. Again, like I said, we are in the potential for a new higher low right here off the 21 exponential, and very interesting stuff for me today, to say the least. The weekends that tend to be a little bit boring. Boring sometimes, and sometimes they're not boring. So far on this Saturday, price action is a little bit boring. We are seeing a little bit of a pullback. I would consider this a test of resistance right along this region here. Again, close enough is close enough, and I do have the understanding that if we do see today's daily candle closure above 49,360 here, we will have a little bit of bullish divergence printing out on the RSI, which would be very exciting to say the least. But if we close like this, this or lower, I will be looking at this as rejection of the negatively sloped exponential after breaking down through this triangle structure here for RSI. Again, continuing to play out a little bit of that bearish divergence. We don't have any divergence possibilities just yet. We haven't printed a new high on Bitcoin price action, so there is a little bit of positivity as far as that is concerned. Any candle closure above this region here today, I will consider as continuation above support, and I will confirm this is new tentative support once again. Again, after this breakdown here, there was a little bit of a possibility to see price action reject this region here, but we found support along the 21 exponential here. So again, as far as my strategy is concerned, as long as price action remains above that 21 exponential, I have high hopes for price action to continue possibly into the lower $50,000 region, maybe even higher. Again, like I said before, if price action breaks into this blue box territory here, again, daily candle closure above, I think anywhere in this box here is free game for price action. And things will get a little bit exciting for the time being. I got a comment, 1 USD. Absolutely, that will be the first one I do, Corey. Corey asks for 1 USD, so I'll go through multiple time frames. That's kind of my plan today. Again, I want to make it a decent stream. I don't want to do like a 10-minute short video, but I don't want to make it like a 2-hour video. So I will be going into a couple of different time frames. I do want to see what the 4-hour here is doing on Bitcoin right now. Again, closing above the 21 exponential still, confirming that higher low structure. But what do we have? We have a higher high. Ooh, we do have a higher high right here in conjunction with this lower high right here. Looks a little bit of a bull flag, right? We do see stochastics on the 4-hour is in the bullish critical zone here. Does have the potential to print a little bit of bearish divergence between this point and this point here. So that is something to be aware of. Nothing to call at, for certain just yet, but nice little flag formation. It does look like this one's gearing up for a potential liftoff to the upside. 4-hour RSI here printing another higher high here and bouncing off the exponential. Love seeing that exponential hold as support, and I love seeing RSI back above that 50 read here. That does give me a little bit of confidence for price action movements to the upside. Again, 4-hour looks pretty okay for right now. Again, a little bit of boring price action. Obviously, we're seeing some sideways downside price action right here. Nothing too exciting right now. Again, the weekends can be boring or they can be absolutely catastrophically exciting, right? So it all depends on what the price action decides to do. And so far, it does look like it may be a little bit of a boring weekend unless we see some kind of breakdown or breakout during the weekend. This position could be some more sideways. And again, that 21 exponential moving average strategy here being so critical. I went to the 2-day. I went to actually, you know what? Let's look at what the weekly's doing. I am curious. Yeah, we were talking about that, that Huff 104 moving average during the stream over the week. It's been a common theme for analysis on this price action here. We're gonna go ahead and bring it up just to be, whatever, just for whatever reasons. I do want to remind everybody that this is a key critical indication here for price action. Now, again, I'm not saying it has to happen this way. We do see a little bit of a recovery here in price action. And I do believe another test of the Huff 104 is possible, even over the weekend, maybe into Sunday. But when Sunday closes and we see this weekly candle closure below it, again after a nice perfect test of that region here, I am going to be looking at that as tentative rejection of the Huff 104. And we've seen a few examples in the past here on Bitcoin's price action, again specifically on the weekly time frame, where this Huff 104 becomes extremely relevant, right? Last blow off top in 2017, we hit that $20,000 target here, saw a little bit of a breakdown, back test, reject, bear market continues on for another year, right? We'll go back again, check out another example here, blow off top here at nearly $1,000 again on the weekly time frame, followed by a carousing price action through, and then a back test followed by rejection, followed by continuation of a bear market. So again, the Huff 104 is still a very valid point that I want everybody to be aware of here for price action, just because we have plenty of evidence suggesting that price action could reject that Huff 104 and the actual cryptocurrency bear market could ensue as a result. Again, it doesn't have to happen like that. We still have the rest of the weekend to see what price action decides to play out with, and closure above the Huff 104 will completely eliminate my bearishness. Absolutely. And where would that price action be here? We would need to see price action at a minimum close above 51,000 by Sunday 8 p.m. Closure here. That would be a weekly candle closure. That's the time the weekly candle closures would be Sunday at 8 p.m. So Sunday 8 p.m. rolls around, we see price action above 51,000. All my bearish sentiment is going to be completely wiped out. It's going to be completely wiped out. Now that's not to say that we wouldn't see a back test of that Huff 104 before continuing on, but the fact still remains that as long as we remain below this Huff 104 on the weekly time frame, the bias for potential downtrend and bear market continuation is very valid. So something very important to be aware of here on price action for the weekly. Again, past market performance is not indicative of future market results, but we've seen plenty of examples here on the Huff 104 where this works. This definitely works. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. From my perspective, though, I am going to be paying attention to this definitely come Sunday at 8 p.m. I do believe my positions, my positions rely on the next move for cryptocurrency here. If it's bullish, fantastic. If it's bearish, right, if we see rejection and we see this continue onwards to the downside, I will have decisions to make on the daily time frame as far as price action is concerned. And I will be forced to make specific decisions based off of the 21 exponential, right? We bring up the 21 exponential and we do see the Huff 104 on the daily and the 21 exponential converging real tight right here. Not to say that that's, anything that's even valid to consider as far as signals are concerned. However, price action is still real tight on that, on that 21 exponential. We're not diverged extreme, distances away from it right now. We're actually still pretty close to it. So anything could happen over this weekend that would convince me to make some sort of decision. Again, I know weekends are kind of that, could be counter trend price action movements on the weekend, but I am still going to have to be cognitive of my decisions if we see that 21 exponential break to the downside. Again, my 2% stop loss is right below the 21 exponential, and closing above support right now means I get to adjust my stop loss once again tonight a little bit higher, securing more profit. So nice and exciting for me. As long as price action remains above that 21, I get to secure more profits, right? And that's the bulk of my my profit on the position. My next take profit target is actually 50,750. which we almost got here on the 22nd of August. Barely missed it by like $100. It is what it is. You know, the target extension was met, and then, you know, I didn't get to take profit off of it. So, you know, kind of relying on take profits within this region for price action to hit that 50,750 target. If not, I'm still sitting on a plethora of profit from, you know, from the entry point here. So, you know, a nice juicy position overall on Bitcoin. You know, I'm very satisfied with how Bitcoin's been playing out, but again, the potential for this to be a giant, colossal bull trap still remains, especially if the weekly closes below that Huff 104. Again, it doesn't have to play out that way. You know, it could close below on a reversal style candlestick and then just shoot up right through it next week. It's, you know, that's another possibility to concern here. Let's talk about a couple of the conditions that I'm looking for here. Price action does confirm a higher low again with any candle closure above today's wick high at 49. We'll just call it 49.4. I will be convinced the price action will continue onwards and upwards somewhere into this box territory. First above this resistance level here at 49,860, right? With a potential target of the top side of the blue box territory at 53,000. We're just going to round it up. Somewhere around 53,000 could be a potential target coming into next week. Again, if we see this confirm as a higher low, we don't see continuation to the downside, I will be very confident of price action continuation. However, even if, you know, if we close here, you know, we'll see the RSI reject the exponential here, and downside pressure continue from stochastics perspective, as we do see stochastics approaching the bottom side of the bullish control zone on the daily. You know, a little bit of sign of concern, not seeing continuation. You know, tells me that we could potentially break the 21. Any closure below that 21 exponential, I will look for a secondary open and closure below the 21 prior to looking for a initial move to the 44,670 range, but likely lower, right? If we're if we're closing continuous candles below the 21 exponential, I'm going to be looking for lower targets than that. Actually, looking for a potential target all the way into this blue box territory, and likely even more. Again, you know, if we get signs of reversal here, we start seeing a change in behavior here. You know, my initial target, long term, right? You know, I'll open a position on a short with an open and closure below the 21, and I'll look for a general target of the bottom side of the blue box territory again over time. Obviously, you know, playing it level by level as price action, you know, continues onwards to the downside, again, if the conditions are met. But, you know, I always look for a game plan, right? The overall game plan. I do some of that hindsight 2020 as far as my plans are concerned. Obviously, this being the first level that I'm going to target for take profit, this will be the second level that I target for more take profit. Any kind of bounce back up to the 21 exponential, add to the position, and look for further breakdown, right? I'm just looking, you know, to play with the ebbs and flows off the 21 of price action. So that's kind of how I'm looking at Bitcoin today. Again, it is the weekend, nothing too exciting right now. A little bit of sideways to the downside price action. Again, we did see that on the 4 hour. A little bit of boring, you know, hardly anything exciting, guys. Hardly anything exciting. So, you know, am I vastly excited right now? Nah, we're not really, but it will be interesting to see how price action reacts off that 21 on the 4 hour and specifically the daily if price action decides to fall once again. So that's kind of how I'm looking at cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, which probably ties along with other cryptocurrencies. I got a request for $1 Harmony. Let's do that one. Oh man, I haven't done this chart in a minute. Holy crap. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and clear it, right? I want to give you guys a fresh perspective on price action before I get real deep down into it. Again, with my change of strategies, things tend to change with horizontals as well. From my perspective here, we got a nice bottom here. We do have rising bottoms on this one, so the uptrend is very valid. Let's talk about some support levels. Boom. I'm gonna put one here. We got a nice consolidation period right here off the 21 exponential. Nice breakout point here. Boom. I like that. We got a clear and defined resistance level here, playing with current highs. Boom. And we got a couple tops to talk about here. Boom. We have a couple of inconsequential levels that are kind of important, to be honest with you. It is an altcoin, so altcoins are a little more, in my opinion, especially you know an altcoin that's not even at $1 yet, a lot more choppy. Obviously, we can see some chop here, a lot of sharp, nasty downside wicks here. On price action, so some of that chop has to be taken into consideration. But if you pull the whole chart out here, we do see an uptrend that is similar to Bitcoin's, except again the Wyckoff distribution pattern is isn't present on this price action chart here. So let's go ahead and dive deep into this analysis. What do we see in here? Ooh, okay, so we do have a lot of pressure. Actually seeing price action dip right now below the 21 exponential. And, you know, I do know that Bitcoin has influence on how other cryptocurrencies play, but for the sake of argument, for the sake of, you know, keeping my theories intact for technical analysis, I'm going to assume that Bitcoin isn't controlling this price action, and I'm going to identify signals off the 21. Excuse me. Do we have any tops? This is our top currently. Obviously printing bearish divergence. Again, bearish divergence for a little bit of a teaching lesson here is when we see, okay, so here's an example, right? We got our high here, right? And this is a higher high on RSI price action. Then we see price action come down, test the 21 and bounce to a new high. But what do we see on RSI here? A slightly lower high in conjunction with price action printing a higher high. Bearish divergence is confirmed here, and we do see a breakdown of that exponential acting as resistance twice now, forcing it back to a negative slope. So we're seeing a lot of pressure being placed on that 21 exponential here, and I will say, you know, confidently that if I see today's candle close below that 21 exponential, I'll look for a back test in Sunday's candle to potentially confirm this as new tentative resistance. Again, it doesn't have to happen that way. We could easily be looking at a consolidation starting to form out here. That wouldn't be out of the question. But per my rules here for the 21 exponential, I will look for a back test to confirm the 21 exponential as new tentative resistance before looking for a potential pullback, which we've already seen that target being met, but this is kind of a softer pullback. I would look for this target to be met again upon confirmation of the 21 being acted as resistance. Somewhere around 9.5 cents would be my first target to the downside. But realistically, if we're continuing to close candles below the 21, this will be another valid target here at about 9 cents even. And anything below 9 cents even, this is going to be the finalized target that I'll look for on the move, about 8 cents, something like that, right? And we'll go ahead and take a look at the 4 hour, see what the 4 hour is doing here. Yeah, okay. And again, I tell you guys, while I play with the 21 exponential moving average strategy on the daily time frame, I do believe that it has the most relevance and the most accuracy and the most strength on the daily time frame. That does not take away from the potential strength that it has on other time frames. Again, in my opinion, it has a higher hit rate on a daily time frame, but that doesn't mean it doesn't work on the 4 hour. And we got, a perfect example here of how it does work on the 4 hour, right? We see our stochastics topping out here. We see RSI topping out here, printing a little bit of bearish divergence, continuing on, putting on pressure of this 21 here, printing another lower high. Boom, right? Secondary candle closure below. Maybe, in this instance, you would have been patient, waited for a full back test of the 21 before entering. But if you did make that decision, you are still in the profit on the 4 hour time frame for the 21 exponential strategy. So, as long as price action on the 4 hour remains below the 21 exponential, I have no reason not to look for downside price action movement all the way to, 9.5 cents. It doesn't have to play like that. We do see, a low printed here, a higher low structurally in conjunction with this low here. So we still have the precipice for an uptrend on the 4 hour, except this structure here, right? This micro structure here being a downtrend is still very valid. So it all depends on how you perceive price action. It all depends on how you look at it. But for the 4 hour, I will be looking for, price action to potentially continue a little lower. It doesn't mean it has to come down and touch the prior low. We can easily see the higher low, this macro higher low. It could potentially print like a micro higher low right here and continue onwards and upwards. That would not be out of the question, especially if Bitcoin continues onwards and upwards as well. But we do see 4 hour stochastics crossing back down right in the neutral zone here. I don't like that signal as far as the bullish perspective is concerned. And we're seeing RSI continuing to remain below that 50 read and remain below the exponential as well. So the pressure, in my opinion, for this cryptocurrency here is to the downside. We'll look back at the daily here, get a little bit of a better disposition, right? We could see a bounce, again, just like Bitcoin. We could see this bounce right off the 21 exponential in tomorrow's open here and continue onwards and upwards. And if we do confirm some kind of low structure here on the 21, I'll have no reason to look for price action to continue up to 11.5 cents or the prior high right here, this resistance. And any break above that, man, you're looking at like full moon territory, right? Full moon territory. You could say that this is arguably a level right here, I would be looking for price action to continue onwards and upwards to about 13 cents. Again, on a daily candle closing basis, above this resistance level here. So that's kind of how I'm looking at this one today. But again, the pressure, in my opinion, is to the downside. Stochastics on the daily rejecting the bullish control zone, continuing through the neutral zone into bearish neutral zone territory. Not a good look here for this crypto. RSI, putting in that bearish divergence and a lower high on RSI, continuing through the exponential and acting as resistance on that exponential twice now, confirming new lows. Doesn't look hot in my opinion, looking like it wants to pull back a little more and test that 50 read here to see if the bulls have any reaction to that price action. That's kind of how I'm looking at that one. Corey S says Matic USD. I will do Matic USD. Why not, right? Matic USD. I do believe that this has been a long... some of these cryptos coming up today, it's been a minute. I don't even think I've looked at this one. Or maybe just a different version of this one, maybe a different chart, whatever. We're going to get a fresh perspective on it. Again, some of these cryptocurrencies that I'm looking at today, I haven't looked at since I made my major reconstruction, psychologically and technically to my entire strategy. Again, if you guys don't know, if you guys weren't here for that, I went through a phase, a huge string of losses that I recognized were my fault. So I decided to delete about 2.5 years of work on all of my charts, come up with a new strategy that I thought was going to be a good strategy to use. I cleared all my charts, yada, 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 reconstructed my psychology, reconstructed my trading plan, and some of these cryptocurrencies I haven't done since that. So it is, it's kind of nice to get a fresh perspective with this strategy here. This price action looks a little more similar to Bitcoin here, so we're going to go ahead and lay out some key levels here. I do believe we are playing with a key level right here. This, in my opinion, is a major level. Obviously, this downside movement here being a major level. We're going to come up with a couple of inconsequential levels here. I like how that one looks right there. Again, another consolidation range. Play with the wicks. Yeah, that's valid enough for me. Again, some of these will be looked at as inconsequential, right? We do have two major levels here on this one. Obviously, this region here, this resistance being a major resistance, clearly, right? We saw price action come up to this region, boom, acted as resistance. We've seen this before, right? We've seen price action break down below this point here, back test, confirm a new tentative resistance before continuing that downtrend. And now we see the reversal formation getting stopped by this key critical resistance as well. So I am looking at this as one of the higher weighted resistances of this price action here. So things, in my opinion, will get very exciting, just like Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's playing with a major resistance, right? Not one of those soft consolidation or inconsequential horizontals. You have to differentiate the difference between a major and a not so major horizontal support or resistance, right? And this one here, in my opinion, is a very major resistance line for this price action here today. And I do believe we are on the precipice of some form of consolidation. That is arguable here. Obviously, we have lower ends of that range and things like that. We are obviously playing with a resistance level here. And again, this one could be considered a major one, but this one's more or less inconsequential. So I'll go ahead and remove that. The most important thing from my perspective to be paying attention to is that yellow 21. Once again, we saw similar price action here, hitting that resistance, boom, breaking down below the 21, boom, confirming it as tentative support. Again, this is why waiting for confirmation is so important, you guys. I always want to, put out some teaching lessons. If you looked at this and tried to take an aggressive standpoint, which, it can be valid, right? It can be valid. To come at from an aggressive approach, but if you took an aggressive approach on this and said short as soon as it breaks, boom, you're already in the red, right? You're already losing money. You probably already hit your stop loss, which is why confirmation is so important here. I would have waited for a confirmation open and closure to remain below the 21 exponential before making any kind of decisions like that. But seeing that Bitcoin bounced off the 21 and popped right back up off the 21, it's kind of expected to see other cryptocurrencies that more or less follow Bitcoin react in the same fashion here. And this one reacting similarly to Bitcoin here today too. I do believe, see, a little bit of boring price action. Although this one is now below the 21 exponential, I am forced to be looking for more downside price action here. What is RSI telling us? RSI's crossed back to the upside, so maybe we're starting to see some of that pressure wane. And again, this is why. if you guys haven't known already, I'm having a little bit of struggles with these divergence arrows here right now. I'm still working out the kinks with this indicator here, but this one's calling out bearish divergence on the 4-hour, and I have no clue how this is considered bearish divergence, right? Bearish divergence, the following conditions need to be met for bearish divergence. Price action prints a higher high, which we don't have. We don't have a higher high. The last high we have is right here, and we see price action clearly below that, right? Yep, clearly below that. Clearly using that region as resistance, not confirming a new higher high. Price action needs to print a new high, a higher high, while RSI prints a lower high. Bearish divergence. What do we have on this price action? RSI prints a higher high, and price action prints a lower high. I don't know. I don't know what the hell. If someone has a potential answer to that, or maybe something I'm doing wrong here, or maybe I'm perceiving these arrows a little differently, let me know, man. I'm open to constructive criticism. I'm open to learn a whole bunch of different things. But as far as I'm looking at this one here, it says that there's bearish divergence, and I don't know how this is bearish divergence. There's no evidence supporting the theory that this is bearish divergence. So enough about that here, though. Price action closing below the 4-hour 21 exponential here leads me to believe that the short-term time frames are looking for more of a pullback. Stochastics here rejecting the bottom side of the bullish control zone, crossing down, continuing onwards to the south. Not to say that we couldn't see, again, another higher low print along this region here and, continuation as a result, but, momentum oscillators are telling me, there's potential that we see price action pull back a little bit more, except for RSI, coiling around that exponential here. It's indicative of, potentially consolidation, or, conditionally nothing. Conditionally nothing. We could see RSI come back up to that 50 read here. Boom. Reject it, sending price action further down to the south. But as far as the 24-hour is concerned, I would say the same thing about this one. It's not out of the question to see shorter-term time frames pull this price action back, maybe bust open a daily range here, or we confirm a daily candle closure above the 21 once again, and I'll have no choice but to look for price action continuation on the daily. First target being the top side again at 1.63. And if we do break 1.63, boy, do we have some excitement to talk about on this one. I will likely be looking for Bitcoin to also be above, that major critical resistance that it's been playing with for a few days here, with continuation possibilities up to the $1.88. Could be a potential target. Again, confirming closure above $1.64. I would be looking for extension to that $1.89, maybe $1.90 region here. Again, I play with candle body closures, so that's not to say that we couldn't see a sharp wick up to maybe $2. But I play with comfortable levels with candle bodies here. Again, that target being $1.86, maybe $1.87. So. While the momentum oscillators does not suggest the latter here, we do have the potential for bullish divergence as well, assuming that today's candle closure closes above $1.53, which is today's wick high. Likely we do see bullish divergence print on the RSI, and continuation to the resistance is likely a result of that being confirmed. However, we don't have that right now. We have 2.5 hours left before cryptocurrency closes the daily candle. So, pay attention. It's time to kind of pay attention, especially with Bitcoin here. I'm going to be paying attention just because, I understand it's the weekend, but, I don't want to miss a second. I never want to miss a second of price action here, because my positions rely on me being aware, being alert, and being, cool, calm, and collective with any kind of price action here. So that's Matic. That's how I'm looking at Matic USD. Let's check out, I think I want to look at Ethereum here. I haven't done Ethereum in quite some time here, and I know it's a very popular one that I'm also considering getting into. Like, if Bitcoin... if Bitcoin does its whole, confirmation of a bear market, we see downside continuation, right? We enter a bear market, fully and legitly here. I'm going to take the opportunity to enter into some Ethereum, right? I want to scoop up a couple of Ethereums here and trade it full time as well. I do believe it's a beautiful cryptocurrency. I think it's one of the more reliable cryptocurrencies. It's one of those ones that, I could easily say is not classified as a shitcoin anymore. Right, just because look at how much it's worth, right? It's at a price that Bitcoin was once at, in its existence. So we look at a couple of those other, cryptocurrencies. They're like 10 cents or 11 cents. Those are classified as shit coins. The Dogecoin is a shit coin. I'm not saying that you couldn't trade them, but trend-wise, Ethereum is now a little bit more reliable. So let's go ahead and look at what Ethereum's doing. Again, the same disposition, applies for this cryptocurrency here. If Bitcoin decides to shoot through that resistance here, Ethereum likely does the same. We do see Ethereum actually consolidating between the lower side of consolidation at 29.97 spot 56 and the upside resistance at 33.25 spot 50. So we have a clear and defined consolidation phase happening right now, obviously with enough points tested to the bottom side and enough points tested to the top side for that to be completely valid. And I would be confident in saying I'm going to rely on price action movements based off of either the break of the bottom side of the range or the break of the top side of the range here. Obviously, price action remains above the 21 exponential, but the bottom side of the range breaking to the downside would be indicative of open and closures below that 21 exponential. So how I'm looking at this right now, we already have bullish divergence on the RSI confirmed. However, we are seeing that exponential. Again, the exponential slope analysis. Haven't talked about that slope analysis for quite some time, but it is very important to pay attention to the exponential when we see RSI break to the downside, right? We do have bullish divergence, and some would say, oh, bullish divergence, maybe that's enough momentum to send RSI back up and just continue the trend to the upside. However, we're seeing rejection of it at the current moment in time. That's not to say that it's just going to reject it a little bit and then boom, pop on through it, but from the evidence that's being provided to me right now, that's what the RSI is telling me. We do see stochastics here looking very similar here. Lots of like coiling, whatever, followed by a break through the bottom side of the bullish control zone here. Nice little back test of the negatively sloped exponential, looking like it wants to reject as well. So the momentum is to the downside, but we're still within this consolidation phase here. So I am confident in saying that if momentum continues to fall and price action continues to remain within this consolidation phase here, we may be looking at a bullish reset. I do take Ethereum's price action, considerably high, right? It's very important to pay attention to Ethereum because I do think Ethereum has a little more pull on the cryptocurrency market than it did in the past, right? We can say that, Bitcoin and Ethereum are kind of one and the same. But more importantly, if Bitcoin breaks the top side of that range, I'll have no reason to think that Ethereum won't break above 33.28 and shoot on through to this region here at 35.80 spot 50. The next clearly defined resistance level, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 touches of this region. This is a significant level. Obviously, this region being very, very, very critical as well. Price action remains in consolidation, so no decisions on my part are going to be made until one of the following two conditions are met: a break above the resistance or an open and closure below the 21. If we do see an open and closure below the 21, same disposition as Bitcoin, I'm going to be looking for potential bear markets to ensue. This will be a structural lower high in conjunction with the all-time high here, and Bitcoin being very similar as well. Structural lower high here, potentially to the all-time high here. That's a structural lower high, and it's possible that we see a longer-term bear market ensue as a result, right? So that's kind of how I'm looking at Ethereum here today. Let's go back to it, check out the 4 hour, see what the 4 hour is doing. 4 hour, yeah, riding that 21 exponential here, looking a little bit boring. Again, cryptocurrency seems to be boring for the last 12 to 16 hours here, and again, the disposition remains the same. We do have a higher high structurally on the 4 hour. We have structural higher lows, so the 4 hour uptrend it's still valid. But expect nothing, prepare for everything, right? Expect nothing, prepare for everything. So the 21 on the 4 hour is still being valid. I would say on the shorter term time frames, it is possible that we see it pop back up, maybe print new highs over the weekend, maybe into next week. But we do see 4 hour stochastics printing a higher high, but potentially bearish divergence from this point to this point is possible here if we do confirm a top, but that has not been confirmed yet. We just see a little bit of waning momentum on the stochastics back through that bullish control zone, critical read there. But the 4 hours riding that exponential very nicely, so the bouncing off of it is confidence inducing for potential continuation. We are seeing that 21 being tested a lot of times today, so if it does decide to hold, again, I'll have no reason to be looking for another test of this resistance, but if it fails, I think the bottom side. I think the downside potentials are very valid. This being the first target that I'll look for. Let's get that. That's a little sloppy. Let's get that tightened up right here. Yeah, that would be my first target here, assuming that price action closes below the 21. I would be looking for 31.68 to be the first target. And if that region doesn't hold, nice little soft target here at 31.35 as well. And if that one doesn't hold, boy oh boy oh, that'll be the next target. If that one doesn't hold, I think we'll have confirmation of a change of behavior on the 4-hour time frame, and I'll be looking for downside continuation to just flood in. Again, similar to Bitcoin. Very, very, very similar to Bitcoin. I would expect if Bitcoin decides to break to the downside, Ethereum and a lot of other cryptocurrencies are likely to do the same. So let's go ahead and move on. I haven't done this one in a while either. I want to check out Mr. Dogecoin. Oh, what is Doge doing? I'm going to clear this chart. New perspective. I'm going to clear this chart, pop up some new horizontals right here. Let's see if this is a critical level. It is a critical level. Oh, again, a lot of these cryptocurrencies, guys, are looking very, very, very similar here, playing with a critical resistance. I would be confident in saying that this critical resistance is the current pivot point in the market. Again, if Bitcoin decides to break that pivot point and just ensue some kind of disgusting, bull market continuation to the upside, we likely see altcoins do the same, right? So we already have a clearly defined critical resistance along this region here. We have a clearly defined critical support right here. These are the two major critical levels. Every level in between, a little less inconsequential here. Let's go for some targets to the upside. That's a valid target to the upside. That's a valid target to the upside. I don't want to put these horizontals too close to each other because then I'm going to be identifying more inconsequential ones, to be quite honest with you. This is another very critical one. I would consider that one a critical one as well here. Okay, let's look at Dogecoin. What is Dogecoin telling us? See, this was actually a scarier close below the 21 exponential here. I did witness this closure on the 25th of August. I did not expect to continue to confirm that 21 as tentative support here, but it happened, and now we're seeing a little bit of a back test to confirm it as tentative support once again. Any candle closure is above the 21 exponential. Possibility to see price action spike back up to this region here would not be out of the question. It would not be out of the question to see price action pop up back to 32 cents. But we do see that this is a clearly defined resistance that we've tested 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. It failed to break above. So, a little bit of an inconsequential one as far as the major structure is concerned, but it is a resistance that price action is reacting off of negatively. So, price action is above the 21. Maybe we see, again, that consolidation. I've been mentioning it's possible that we see some consolidation start playing out. Again, it doesn't have to happen that way. It's just a possibility that we see consolidation play out, at which point, range traders could potentially be like, oh shit, time to scalp. Oh shit! Buy support, sell resistance. I'm not a scalp trader. I like those big trendy moves, right? I like those big trendy moves. So I get a little bit bummed out because I fucking hate trading ranges, right? I have to be attentive, constantly to train, to trade ranges. So, it's possible. It's possible we see, a clearly defined range print out between this point here and this point here. That wouldn't be out of the question, right? It is a possibility. We're already seeing a little bit of evidence on a lot of these cryptocurrencies that this is, potentially something that's going to start playing out. This real tight consolidation phase would not be out of the question here. But is that what I'm looking for? Obviously not. I'm looking for those moves, right? I'm looking for those big trendy moves, either to the upside or to the downside. So let's check it out on the 4-hour. What is the 4-hour telling us? Yeah, same thing. Downtrend continuation. Any divergence? No divergence here. Rejecting the 50 read here, failing to go back above it. Although we are, resting on a positively sloped exponential here, it is starting to lose that slope just a little bit, right? It's starting to look more flatlined than anything else. And we are confirming potentially a secondary candle. No, wait a minute. We have confirmed a secondary candle closure, so we'll just be close in multiple candles below that 21, clearly acting as a defined resistance here. And as a result, if this one closes below, I will be looking for continuation to the downside. And again, 4-hour stochastics rejecting, the bullish control zone. That is so similar to a lot of the other 4-hour stochastic charts on other cryptocurrencies, rejecting that bullish control zone and continuing to the downside. The evidence is stacked up against cryptocurrency on the shorter term time frames, except for like a couple of one-offs. So continuation through the weekend to the downside, it is a big possibility. We could see this trendy reversal play out for cryptocurrencies here again, especially because Bitcoin being the main catalyst, BTC being the main catalyst for all the decisions that I'll be making on any cryptocurrencies that I trade. Right, if this one starts confirming that bear market and starts tipping over to the downside, I'll have a lot of decisions to make on cryptocurrencies. So it's been about 45 minutes, guys. I think that's where I'm going to wrap it up. All I wanted to do is get on here, have a little bit of fun, give you guys a fresh perspective, pay attention to some cryptocurrencies. No regular stock market, no Dixie, no anything like that. Just focused solely on crypto. Again, as that is my main source of trading, is the cryptocurrencies. I'm just getting into traditional stock markets, which a lot of these stocks that I do have, AMC, MMAT, Hall of Fame, all of these stocks that I'm using the 21 for, I think I have like 15 shares of AMC, 5 shares of MMAT, 3 shares of the Hall of Fame, aside from the 400 shares that I'm sitting on long term. I think I put $100 into SNDL at 77 cents. So I think I have 77 shares of SNDL. I have 1 share of GNW and 1 share of CX. So while I'm getting a little bit, more into the stock market, and I do pay attention to the stock market because I think stock market price action is relevant to cryptocurrencies price action. I just wanted to have a little fun with cryptocurrencies today. No need to worry about the stock market because it's fucking closed. So yeah, that's going to do it for today, everybody. Thanks for being here. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tick on that little bell. All the support is vastly appreciated. It boosts up the YouTube algorithm and allows the channel to have a little bit more visibility. When someone types in Bitcoin technical analysis or something like that, we have a higher chance of my videos being first, right? That's the whole goal, is for people to click and watch. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tick that little bell, and until next time, everybody, stay safe, stay happy, stay